One of the number one reasons why women struggle with dating and relationships today is that they choose men who are not ready for anything real. Ladies, there are lots of great relationship-ready men out here. However, you need to learn how to choose them. I wrote this book to teach you how to do just that. Get your copy of Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you on Amazon today.
You know what has some of y'all really messed up? And I see men do this, I see women do this. And it says a lot about your level of emotional maturity. And it also just says a lot about you as a person. So I make content and I'm constantly telling you all, yes, the content is generalized, right? The content is generalized because I make content for thousands and thousands of people, and millions of people may actually watch it. So no, I can't speak to every single individual person's situation, nor do I want to. However, based on data, based on science, based on clinical research, there is something called the bell curve. And you should have learned this in, I don't know, middle school, high school, where it talked about the 80%, right? That's that bell curve. Most people fall in that 80%. And the two sides of that bell curve are each 10%. And that is called the outlier. So most people are not in the 10%. It's an outlier. Most of us are in the 80%. But y'all keep talking about the exception. You keep talking about the exception to my rules. And that's what's getting you in trouble now. Is this looking for the exception to the advice that I give, looking for the rare outlier? That's what's messing you up. That's what's messing you up. And your ego won't let you admit that 80%, like, yeah, most of us fall in that 80%. So for instance, when I say don't date men, I tell women don't date men who've been involved in the judicial system. You got about 5 to 10% of people in my comments. Well, what about the civil rights folks? They all been to jail. What about Jesus? What about Malcolm X? What about Martin Luther King? Like, stop it. Stop it. You sound stupid. Stop doing that. You sound childish. You know what I'm talking about. Or what about men who have been put in the system through no fault of their own? Stop it. Or what about men who've been to traffic court? Like, stop it. Y'all will look for any dumb thing to say instead of just going, yeah, that's wisdom. And remember, my goal is to protect women. My goal is to keep them from getting got on the regular. So yes, I'm going to give them generalized information because, can I be honest? Most women do not have the wisdom. They do not have the wherewithal. They do not have the discernment to see the nuance. They don't. They don't see the nuance. So yes, do they need rules and regulations and guidelines? They really do. They really do, because having discernment, seeing the nuance or the outlier in the situation, that's a high level skill that most of y'all don't have. Most of you do not have that high level skill to know the difference. So yeah, I want you to stay within the guidelines that I give you. And I want you to trust that, yeah, I'm doing it for your best interest. I really am. And most people who have common sense, like most people who are like, yeah, Anita's not lying. Like, I've had men go under that post like, yeah, she's not lying. Why are y'all tripping? Why are y'all talking like this? You know exactly what she means. You know exactly what she's talking about. Like, just take the advice to heart. Just do it. because it is a protection. It's going to protect you. And look, when I tell men, stop dating these women covered in tattoos. And you just got to talk about the exception. Well, my girl got tattoos and she's great. My girl's really feminine. My girl's been really supportive and really loving. Okay, she's the exception to the rule. But most women with the septum nose ring, with the pierced nose, with the, all the piercings in her ears and piercings in her face and piercings in her tongue and piercings in, no. And visible tattoos all over her. No. And again, that's your dumbness. It's like you just want the exception to the rule. You just want to go against this basic guidelines that I give to people. You just want to go against it. And like I said, I'm not going to feel bad when it goes wrong, because I'm telling you what it is. But for some reason, well, this is the exception to the rule and my girl is different, or this girl, no. And honestly, if I'm being honest, you know what it is? It's the ego. It's the ego. People want to believe that they're different. They want to believe that they're special. And it's almost like a childlike quality. It's like a fantasy, childlike, imaginary friend type quality. Like I said, it says a lot about you. You're not a grown-up. You're not emotionally mature. You don't live in reality. And it just says a lot about you. When people really believe, like, I'm the exception to this rule, or this person's the exception to the rule, most of us are not. And I hate to break that to you, but most of us are not. Okay? So this whole, I want the exception to the rule, that's going to have y'all messed up. It really is, because you're going against sound counsel, sound advice, thinking, well, that's not everybody. But look, if I told you that 80% of people, like I said, that bell curve, 80% of people, that is how they are. So you banking on 20%? Come on now. And really, it's more like 90%. So you're going to take your chances for 10%? That don't make sense. That's like you jumping out the airplane and I'm telling you there's an 80% chance this parachute is not going to open. Like what? Come on, y'all. Use common sense. Common sense will tell you those aren't good odds. But because y'all hate science and you hate numbers and math so much, you're going to roll the dice. You're going to roll the dice and crap out. So, somebody tell me this dude right here, you got an 80% chance of this dude jacking you up. I'm good. I'll take 50-50 over 80-20. Okay, so understand, it's called an outlier for a reason. It is rare. Most of us, I just like when I tell women, most women are not going to marry a man making over $200,000 a year. Most of them. 90% of them. 90% of women are not going to meet, date, and mate, and marry a man making over $200,000. And I'm wrong. Like, y'all keep saying I'm wrong. Because I'm realistic. Because I look at numbers. Because I like data, I'm somehow wrong. Well, Anita, you just saying that and you saying it ain't even possible? I'm saying it's not probable. Okay? As someone who has been married to a man who was wealthy, like, I'm never going to get that chance again. You understand, right? I will never, ever, ever get that chance again. Lightning struck once, it will not strike twice. And it's just like, you know how delusional a lot of y'all sound? It's like the lottery. Right? Yes, all of us have bought a ticket. All of us have played the lottery here and there and bought a ticket. Because, it's a feel-good thing. It's a fantasy thing, right? It's a dream. It's a hope. It's a fantasy thing. But those of you who are literally getting paid and blowing all your paycheck on lottery tickets, playing every day, buying scratch offs and all that, you're a fool. You're a fool. Do you know the odds of winning the top prize in the lottery? And yes, the reality is someone is going to win, right? That's why a lot of people say they buy tickets. Well, somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to win. It might as well be me. But there's a strong chance that it won't be. So you'd be better off taking whatever money you regularly spend on the lottery or going to casinos and investing that money. Invest that money, and at least you'll have something coming back to you. Okay? But folks out there are obsessed with the exception. They either think they're the exception, it's not going to happen to me. I'm like, I don't know why you're saying that. There's nothing about you that makes you that special. If this person, look, and women are notorious for this because y'all will know a man's horrible history. These men out here have horrible history. Y'all will know about it. And your little ego will say, well, I'm different. I'm different. He's not going to do me that way. I'm different. If we had a child, he would stick around. You know how dumb you sound? It's really sad, but it's almost like this childish thinking, this childish imaginary thinking that a lot of you have, and y'all are 35, 40 years old, and you have this childish imaginary thinking. It's just weird to me. I don't get it. So y'all keep pushing the envelope on this situation. This I'm looking for the exception to the rule, and I'm different, and he's not gonna do me that way, and I'm not her, and all this other stuff. Nope, baby. Because look, even if you are different as a woman, this is what I keep telling women about dealing with these men that have multiple babies by multiple women. Even if you are different, which you are, you're not his ex, or the ex before that, or the ex before that. The person you need to be worried about is him. He isn't different. He is the same guy with all of these women. And if I'm being honest, that's what helps me to sleep at night when I have to let a man go. When a man go about his business, or I have to let a man go. You know what helped me sleep at night? Knowing that this same dude is going to show up with the next girl, and the next girl, and the next girl. She's going to get exactly what I got. And that is y'all's number one fear. You know what I hear all the time? I hear this in counseling. I hear this in coaching. Well, Miss Anita, if I let him go, if I stop dealing with him, if I put him down, if I do this, if I do that, he just gonna go on and give the next woman everything. He just gonna get himself together. He just gonna get a job. He just gonna stop doing this, and he gonna stop smoking, and no, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. There's an 80% chance that that man is going to do exactly what he did with you. And again, the odds are just not in your favor. There's an 80% chance that he's going to be him. And you willing to stick in there and stick it out for that 20%? I'm not. Not even close. I'm good. Let her deal with it. Right? I remember telling y'all once before, a young lady, an African-American young lady, a black lady, came into my practice, and she was upset because her horrible, no good man, like her horrible, no good man left her, and she found out that he was with a white woman. And I was like, okay. And she was like, well, that's just awful, and this and that. I was like, okay, what does that have to do with anything? He is the same man he was with you, only she willing to put up with it. That's the only difference. And I keep telling y'all that. A lot of white women will accept stuff that y'all just won't. Like they got the patience of Job. They gonna put up with stuff that a lot of us will not. So I don't know why you feel a way about that. She is getting the same exact dude. But she is willing to deal with it. She's willing to put up with it. So, like, I don't understand why you're upset about that. Like, you're not willing to deal with it. You're not willing to put up with it, but you're mad because she is? No, be glad you unloaded this dude. Be glad that, yeah, I'm done. And then let me just say this while I'm on this subject. Some of y'all don't know how to be alone without feeling lonely. And the desperation that you have and just wanting somebody. You want somebody so bad that you will take anybody. You will be treated like crap. You will take anybody. And in your mind's eye, it's better than being alone. Right? That's the number one thing is I just don't want to be alone. And so you accept the worst of the worst. And it don't go well. You have to learn how to be alone without being lonely. There is such a thing. And a lot of you all have got to close your ears to the societal narrative, right? They're trying to paint a picture like, oh my God, if you're single, if you're not in a relationship or you're not married, you're just a horrible human being or you have less value or less worth. That isn't the case at all. There are a lot of people now that are choosing to just be single. They'll go out on dates if someone asks them out, but trust, if that person acts like a fool, if that person isn't a good quality person, if something comes out that says, oh, this person, is inconsistent or just isn't a good quality person, yeah, I'm not going to pick them. I'm not going to pick that person. I'm going to be by myself and I'm going to be okay with that. So that's it. We need to get to a healthy place where we don't see being single as some sort of horrible curse. It isn't. Like I said, people try that on me all the time. Oh, well, you're single. You're not married, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I am happier than most people in our country right now. I am very fulfilled and satisfied with the life that I have, with the life that I lived. Do I have regrets? Sure. I think everybody does. There are things that I wish didn't happen. There's choices I wish I didn't make. But here I am, still living every single day, right? Still doing whatever it is I have to need to do. Still enjoying my life. That's it. But this idea of, oh my God, if you're not partnered, if you're not married, if you're not with someone, something's wrong with you. No. Sometimes, you outgrow all the nonsense. You outgrow, the toxicity, right? And I'm the type of person that once I see it, I can't unsee it. That's who I am. When people tell me, oh, I went back to my ex or I'm like, I can't, I've done that one time in my life and that was a very hard lesson. But for the most part, I don't go back because it's like, once I see it, I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. I can't respect you the same. I can't trust you the same. I just can't unsee it, whatever that thing is. Okay, so do the work, do the inner healing work, really, really fall madly in love with yourself. That's what it's going to require. Fall so deeply, madly, and for sure, just fall in love with yourself. Just radically accept yourself. And trust when I tell you, when you do this, man, can't nobody else's company really compare. Like, you got to be super special, right? I ain't even lying. You have to be super special for me to spend time with you. And here is my caveat. I spend time with people that I leave them feeling energized. If I don't leave this exchange feeling energized, it's a no. It's a no. If I feel exhausted after hanging out with you, or if the thought of hanging out with you makes me feel tired, that's a bad sign. That's a really bad sign that, I'm just going to do it by myself. I'm just going to do it on my own. That's all. But if you coming into my space, if you coming into my world and it makes me feel good and happy and energized and curious and all the things, yes, that's a good thing. That's a really good sign that, okay, we have something. We have something here because something about this person makes me feel energized. See? So let that be your marker, ladies. One thing I said to a client the other day, and I'm going to share it here with you, and this is specifically for the women who are watching. I need you to understand that every interaction that you have with a man, you are in fact writing the script of your self-worth. So, what does this mean? This means that when you interact with men that you know aren't a good fit, when you interact with men who are separated but not divorced, when you interact with men who are still living with their ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, when you interact with men who have deal breakers on your list, when you keep interacting with those men, no matter how small, you are in essence sending the message that, you know what, my self-worth is not that high. Like my self-worth, it can go either way. Like it can sway depending on the day. My self-esteem and my self-worth is just not very high. That's all. Okay? Because when your self-esteem and your self-worth is high, you don't tolerate BS at all. You definitely don't entertain anyone with something on your don't want list. Okay? If they have something on your don't want list, it's a no. It is an absolute no. But what a lot of women do is they get bored, they get lonely, they get nosy, and they start interacting with a dude that they already know is not their husband. I don't give men who are not my husband the time of day. Because it's like, for what? And unless you have a genuineness about being a true friend, sure, maybe for that. If we genuinely became friends, that would be amazing. But if that's not even on the horizon, like I said, if interacting with you makes me tired, it makes me feel exhausted, then what are we doing? For what? Why would I do that? For what? My self-worth and my self-esteem says, no, I'm not going to waste my time or my energy or my effort on someone who wouldn't be a good friend, definitely isn't my husband. Why bother? But a lot of women don't recognize, from the way you dress, to the way you talk, to the things that you accept, to the things that you tolerate, right? All of these behaviors, all of these things, you are creating a map to the level of self-esteem and self-worth that you have as a woman. And for a lot of you, it's low. It's low. That's what you're teaching a man. My worth and self-esteem is very low. Because I will deal with you when I'm bored, when I'm lonely, as opposed to, I got nothing. I got nothing for you if you are not a genuine friend or if you're not my husband. I have zero, zippo, nothing. Okay? So think about that. That's why I'm not going to show up half dressed. That's why I'm not going to use profanity. That's why I'm not going to use the N-word. That's why I'm not going to, do other things that go against my morals and my values. Because again, I am showing you what my self-esteem and my self-worth is. That's what I'm doing. And if that is very low, yes, I will show up ratchet. I will show up ghetto. I will show up loud and obnoxious. That is saying, I don't really feel great about myself. I don't have a self-love. I don't have a self-esteem or a healthy self-respect. That's what I'm saying. So remember that. And then y'all get mad when the man mirrors back what you're showing him. Y'all get mad when you don't respect yourself and then the man don't respect you. You showed up with all your junk out. You showed up with all your boobs out, your butt out. And then when he mirrors that back, can you believe he said that? Can you believe he tried to touch me? Can you believe he asked me to go home with him? Yes, I can. Because those were the signals that you were sending. Right? Can you believe that he only gave me that because you look cheap? You look cheap. You don't look expensive. You look cheap. That he only offered to take me here because you're cheap. So that's a harsh lesson, ladies. That's a harsh lesson for you all to learn. But once you know it, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. So entertaining men who are not married, who are separated. Y'all know how I feel about that. It is a losing battle. It's a losing game. What is the point of this? What is the point of doing this? And all that's going to get done is your little feelings are going to get hurt. Your little feelings are going to get involved. And then he's the bad guy. He's the problem. Can you believe, that this has happened? And, he never got his divorce. And no, you entertained him while he was married. So come on. We have to have a standard for ourselves. We have to have a way in which we do things. And remember, the red pill men are running around saying that y'all's standards, they depend on your level of attraction, how much money the man has, how handsome he is, how tall he is. See, red pill says there is no universal standard for women, that a woman is going to break rules for men she likes, and she's going to make rules for men she doesn't. In my world, I don't care if you find it's all outdoors. I'm not going home with you on the first date. I'm not having all my junk out for you. I'm not cussing my head off or using the N-word. There's a whole lot of things I'm just not going to do. And I don't care if you're my dream man or if you're, Bobby the janitor. In my world, it is not based on the man and what he looks like and what he has. My self-worth, my self-respect, and my self-esteem is based on me. It's an inside job. It's not flexible depending on who it is that's coming up to me. No, it's not. So I wish I could say the same about women, but I know that part of what they're saying is true. There are women that if you have money, if you have status, if you have looks, they're not going to have the same set of standards for you that they would have for a regular man. I know that that's true. I wish it wasn't. I wish women could set their standard and keep it set regardless of the man. But I know that that doesn't happen. So, like I said, you get to determine your worth and value, and then you present that to the man that you're interested in. Remember that. Okay? That's not something that's flexible or up for, discussion or debate. You present like this is the standard. And either they like it or they don't. And if they don't, that's okay. You just go about your business. All right. I hope you appreciated this video. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, stay open to love.